All right. We don't have an echo, so I'm going live. Like it. We'll do it live.
Right. We always do it live, babe.
Dom, fuck you.
Are you like this?
I think.
Don't answer that. We already know.
Yeah. Probably because she didn't bring the boots out, as previously stated.
Oh my god. Let's go pull up the fucking notes that Hornet has so graciously written.
Okay, I have to do the intro. It's important. I actually don't know why I think that intro is important. But fuck it. Today we're going to talk about Lord of the Flies. I will be playing Halo Reach in the background because I'm awesome like that, and no one's going to talk about how bad my gameplay is. I think we're going to continue forcing Zombly to fucking read off the notes and herd the cats. Anne's going to continue being mean to everyone, and damn, you will be autistic. Take it away, Zom.
It's a normal Sunday.
Yeah.
I like that'll be an issue considering chat is text based.
That is weird.
Is this like I mean, is this like the scene in Airplane where the two black guys are speaking jive, so no one understands them? It's just that you can read chat, but you can't read like an actual book.
I mean, that makes sense.
I forgot about that too.
Quick, someone bring the Navajo into this.
Oh no. So anyway, we did read Lord of the Flies, and I think that before we begin, it's important to acknowledge that Lord of the Flies is actually the exact opposite of Animal Farm, because in Animal Farm, the pigs, the intellectuals, are the ones who end up winning. In Lord of the Flies, it's actually the pigs who die.
Okay. I was wondering where you were going with.
I was like, where are you going with this, bud?
I was trying to figure out what that was. Holy shit, that's dark. You're a piece of shit, Tom.
Okay, but it's a great joke. You can't tell me that's not a great joke, and also completely accurate that the intellectuals die in Lord of the Flies.
Well, mainly it's just the
Captain would try to go with civility a bit too long.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, we're just gonna ignore Dimitri's rage bait attempt.
I actually, Chad, I gotta take a second and set that up because it's my chat's on the wrong side. I'm not seeing anymore. Hold on. Bear with me.
Oh, you fucked that up.
Okay.
Oh, anyway,
so essentially, it's that old joke of like, what is it? Under capitalism, what's the word? It's not extract. I'm having a stroke trying to remember this book. Not in a good way. Man exploits man. Under Soviet Union, it's just the opposite.
Wait, what?
Yeah, exactly.
In the capitalist West, man exploits man. In the Soviet Union, man exploits man. They just reverse the sides.
Yeah, that makes sense.
No different.
Yeah. That's fair.
That does make sense.
It's the old joke.
So dragging us well along here, we begin the book on a beach, which is very nice. It's very pristine. All my homies like beaches. Let's see here. We essentially the first fucking chapter is just about establishing leadership, right? We find the fucking conch. It's very nice conch. It's like, I think it's described as.
There are many like it, but this one is his.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. The conch is, as it turns out, very symbolic of something. I'm sure we'll discover what later.
Symbolism.
Oh my god, settle down.
Ralph gets elected by bullshit means. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
He just so happens to have found the conch, and thus he gets to be leader because the group of boys are all idiots.
I do find it quite apropos that it's literally just loudest person leader. Like, that makes sense.
Yeah, that sounds like a bunch of little kids.
That also tracks like modern day freaking politics, I swear. So it's all the same.
As long as you yell the loudest, I mean, we're good to go, right?
Yeah.
He gets elected because everyone is stupid. That's not going to show up again or anything.
No.
And then we also get a little bit of Jack, because Jack and his choir boys get introduced. I actually find it very interesting that Simon was one of the choir boys, considering where his story goes.
Hmm.
Kind of forget about that when, like, as I got through the book. See if there's anything else of note to discuss here.
I guess it really feels like a 1940s film. like a very black and white movie. I remember reading it. It was just like, oh, this literally feels like I'm watching I'm watching It's a Wonderful Life or whatever, with the way that the
kids die.
yeah, that's
Okay.
exactly what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
More like the cadence to the dialogue and the I don't know, artificially dramatic pauses and that sort of stuff.
Is that why I hated it?
That might be why you hate it. It's a very
It might be.
1950s writing style.
Yeah.
Incidentally, it was also written in the 1950s.
Oh.
Weird.
Weird.
God damn it. Also, wait, it's like, where's Cyborg?
He's not gonna make it. Today.
Cyborg
He's
is
a
dead.
bitch.
Yeah, he hates us. He does not want to talk books with us anymore. After the last stream, he got his feelings hurt when we shat on communism that much.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I forget he's a bit partial to communism.
Yeah, exactly. He's kind of a commie. And I think really the big thing about this chapter anyway is that we get our main conflict for the story, which is Ralph and Jack hating one another.
Which I would counter really isn't them hating one another. I think Jack is really the hating one. I think Ralph is not a good leader per se, but he has the right objective and idea, and he's just bad at pushing it forward. But like, he's very focused on trying to survive and get rescued. And he just doesn't know how to handle Jack at all. And Jack wants to be leader.
Yeah, Jack is high-key jealous that he does not get to be leader.
Yeah.
Also, these kids do not act like their age is stated in the book
At all.
at all.
I hate it. It grates on me. I
They're
fucking
not
hate
even close.
it. I hate it. That's in my rant for afterwards, but we can get to it if you want.
We'll get there. We'll get there. Also, Cyborg, I'm sorry, but visiting your grandparents makes you a commie.
Yeah, you're a commie.
Clearly.
Yeah.
What? Dimitri, you're gonna have to be a bit more specific on that one.
Yeah. So moving into chapter 2, which is the other really slow chapter, we get the introduction of the uncivilized. I mean, you know, the scary stuff in the woods, the woodsins and the treesons.
Oh, yeah.
So the stupid little childs start to like think that they see a monster or something.
It's a
in
snake,
the
and then
dark at night.
And then it goes into a monster because something walked around in a weird way.
Big old
Yeah.
beastie.
Beastie,
Yeah,
yes.
a beastie.
Something,
Pretty little
something,
beastie.
fear of the unknown. It's symbolism.
Oh god,
By the way, have you caught that there's symbolism in this book yet?
I hate it.
Fucking beast
It's almost like
in the head
this
with a
whole book
mallet.
was written by a philosophy professor. Whoa.
I will also note, gives the notes here mention bullying Piggy. Ralph is a real fucking asshole to Piggy for most of the book.
Everyone's an asshole to Piggy for most of the book.
There's a weird exception, or not exception, but like distinction, I should say, between Jack, or between Ralph and treating Piggy and the others. Like Ralph treats Piggy without consideration, and he's happy to use him for a laugh. And then
Okay, no.
And then the others, like Jack and a bunch of others, will treat Piggy with actual, like, visceral hatred. Not that it makes the lack of consideration any, like, good, but it is different, and it's, like, important to note. But otherwise, yeah, no, Ralph and all of them treat Piggy like absolute shit.
The one thing I will note is I did feel like Ralph Ralph along the way picked up at least something approaching a respect for Piggy in his own way.
Yeah, especially towards the end. He gets it.
Like he was still a bit of an asshole, but he wasn't an asshole in the sense of like, I'm doing this because I want to degrade you.
Yeah.
Way.
No,
Yeah.
man. Like, Ralph fucking liked Piggy, though, too, because, like, Piggy explicitly states, hey, everybody used to call me Piggy at school. Can you just not, like, tell everybody, like, that, you know,
Yeah, that's an
that I
asshole
was
thing to
called
do.
Piggy? And then he just, like, announces it to the whole group, and it's
Yeah.
like, I don't know, man, like,
That's
I
one where
guess
I'm gonna.
there's an argument, but, like,
Well, that's at the beginning though. Like that like what I meant was more like as it goes on. The one thing I will say though is that's a pretty good example of like them writing the kids acting their age, because
That's what
most kids
would
are
do.
an asshole at
Yeah.
that age.
I mean, fair, yeah.
And I'm
Yeah.
also going to argue too that it maintains the point, because I don't think Ralph does that with the intention of hurting or hating on Piggy. He thinks it's funny, and he doesn't think beyond himself because he's a kid, right? So it's like, funny, Piggy, like that's all that is. While as Jack will like intentionally go out of his way to fuck with Piggy because he hates the fact that Piggy doesn't like agree with him, and you know, go along with his premises and stuff.
Yeah, I guess it really kind of depends on like how you interpret the intent behind the actions. Like, do you
Yeah.
think that there is intent there, or do you think that it's just kind of like he does whatever, which like it's kind of ambiguous.
It's true.
There's one thing I'm. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Sorry, I thought you were finished.
Oh, I was just finishing the comment.
Okay. One thing I'm curious about though, Zom. Before I say what I'm about to say, what do you think? How do you interpret it?
Interpret Ralph's relationship with Piggy.
Yeah.
I don't know. I tend to lean the way that you do, where I think Ralph is just portrayed as acting like a dumb kid for the first half of the book when it comes to Piggy, and tends to moves slowly over the course of the book to having some form of respect for him. But I think that's in part done that way because it's supposed to be part of Ralph's struggle to, you know, maintain civility.
I agree. I think the thing I was going to say though is I think this might be some sort of like weird thing where guys just notice a certain set of behaviors and interpret it a certain way. Because like the thing I'm noticing is like the three of us had roughly similar views of it.
Yeah, and then and doesn't know what she's talking about. Yeah.
I'm not going to go that far, but
Okay.
But, you know, like
this-
I'll mask off for you if you want. The reason I interpret it that way is because when I was young, I treated someone that way. I was Ralph to
You
a
pushed
Piggy.
him off a cliff.
No, I was literally
Oh,
Ralph
sorry.
to a Piggy. Like I never physically hurt anyone, but I bullied them as a little kid,
Yeah.
and I never recognized I was bullying them until like
Yeah.
I hit like 16, 17 years old, and I looked back at it and went, "Why was I such an asshole?" You know, like there was no intent there. I was just like, "Oh well,
Yeah.
he's fat, so right."
Fatty.
Yeah,
Right.
that's all it was.
Right.
So I see myself in Ralph in that instance.
yeah,
Mm.
I can definitely agree. I can definitely agree with that in the sense of like looking back at the way I acted in that sort of like 10 to 15 range. I wasn't intending to be an asshole, but I didn't properly have the right line of like being a disturber versus being an asshole.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like it might just also be that I like really don't like egotistical people, and I really read Ralph as pretty egotistical in the first like couple chapters of the book. So I was just like, I fucking hate this kid.
He can be. I'll give you that point.
Yeah, I was like, this kid's annoying little brat and never taught manners. So it might be that.
Welcome to being a
Leave it
10-year-old
that.
boy.
Yeah.
Let's see here. And then the other notable things here are that we get to lay out some responsibilities. The only ones that actually fucking matter are that Ralph is the leader and Jack needs to go get food. That's all that actually fucking matters.
Jack hunts. Yes.
Oh, have we explored the island by this chapter?
Like a,
I don't.
Not really.
I don't think like my notes
No,
should
that's-
talk about it. It does. Do they not?
so the things we're noting is that's part of the initial duties is like that's the first thing that's done. I think
Oh, you're
after
right.
the
Yeah.
first conclave is like okay, we need to explore the island to know if it's an island.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't. We make like 2 attempts or 3 attempts at exploring the island throughout the first couple of chapters, and we kind of progress further each time.
The
Yeah,
reason I don't put it in the notes is because I get so fucking bored of it because there's no narrative point to it and it pisses me off.
Yeah, essentially it's like do this thing and then it doesn't actually have any outcome.
Yeah.
Isn't the fire also like fire duty also stated around here? Like we
Yes.
need to get a fire so we can so we can signal.
That was the separation.
Yeah,
Tom was talking
yeah. I
about.
think that there's.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say they do talk about we need a fire for to signal people. But I was about to get to that fire
okay.
thing here on the last note. But essentially, that and then we have the conch as the talking stick. If you have the conch, then you hold power over everyone. And that's, you know, symbolism.
Symbolism.
So anyway, the other. Okay.
Sorry, just a quick break in. Do you want me to post the link in the stream link in the Discord?
Oh yeah, go for it.
You can. It doesn't matter.
I just wanted to make sure that it wasn't something you didn't. It wasn't something you wanted me to avoid.
I don't care. Fairly irrelevant on it.
Yeah, it's not like any of our viewers can read anyway.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Well, that's why we gotta post it so that we can enrich them without them having to read. Clearly.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Anyway. Yeah. So anyway, the other notable thing here is the fire. And that it's decided primarily by Ralph, but everyone tends to agree at this point that we would like to get rescued. Rescue would be nice, so we need a fire. And so naturally, in the most intelligent action ever, they just light part of the forest on fire.
I think
around the plane crash.
Well, they start a fire and then they forget to control it. I think was that one.
Well,
Yeah.
they
I
made the starting fire so fucking huge, and then they just kind of ignored it for a minute. And yeah, rip.
Yeah.
I find it very interesting considering later on we get a big fire to you know burn some people out,
Yep.
and that fire ends up like engulfing the entire island, or it's kind of written that way. But this one only like it gets very large, but doesn't burn the whole damn island down.
That was one of my points that I hated. The logical fallacy there.
Mhm.
It
Was there like a recent rain in this one? Whereas like later
Yeah.
on they say it'd been like
But when they crash landed, it was raining.
Although I would argue that it just rained. Was it? Well, no, I guess it's been maybe 2 days since that rain. Okay. I mean,
and it's also like the difference between like deliberately starting a fire versus deliberately starting and cultivating a fire to spread versus just sort of having a whoopsie.
Oopsie poopsies.
oopsie poopsie indeed.
Yeah. And of course, the big thing here is that one of the little ones kind of seems to disappear after the fire. Weird. Of course, I'm sure nothing bad happened to that little one, but it is kind of dwelled on by the older boys, especially Ralph and Piggy. It becomes kind of an unspoken thing you don't mention the little one who may or may not have died in the large fire because no one was paying attention.
It makes everyone feel bad. Yes.
Wait, I just remembered, skipping a little bit to the end, they just straight up forget about him.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do.
I noticed that. I was like, wait, I miscounted the number of dead people.
I straight up forgot about that fucker.
Yeah, like literally, I was like, wait, hold on,
They willed him out of existence.
count this kid.
Well, look. He was an inconvenient little fact, so we had to get around it.
Apparently.
Little turd, if you will.
Oh god.
Well, if he didn't want to die, then he shouldn't have fucking been there. Okay.
Run into the fire, clearly.
Yeah.
It is
Shouldn't have put that
obvious.
stupid mark on his face.
Yeah, God, he was too you know, obvious who he was. God. I do obviously it's interesting that we use this as our starting points as we get to use this as one of the markers for the degradation of the kids and their barbarity, in that they care so much about losing one of the little ones at this point.
Although I'd argue that they don't. It seems to me it's just Ralph and Piggy. No one else really gives a shit.
Yeah. But also we don't really get the internal monologue of any other kids. So
That's
it's
true.
not. We only really get the story through Ralph and Piggy primarily, so it's hard to judge. But it's certainly framed that way, in that like the fact that a little one ate shit and died in a fire. You got like Darwin awarded.
Entire fucking island was Darwin Awards.
Don't worry about it. We'll get there. It was very shocking. It's very what the fuck. And it's right now we're not okay with killing people.
So far,
It's just in.
it'll change.
So far. Hey,
Oh,
I don't know. We have to be so negative about it.
Sorry, Zom. Sorry. Continue, babe. Continue.
So I'm getting distracted by the fact that you play Halo like dog shit.
But why are you watching my Halo stream? Fucking.
Well, because it's right there. Because chat's right there, right? So
Oh,
I
my
just
God.
saw you miss like 10 headshots in a row.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's no problem. Moving on. So we get to chapter 3, which is Jack figuring out how to hunt pigs, and Ralph and Piggy and Simon are trying to build shelters and being rather pissed off that no one is helping them.
Same.
Which is understandable, really. Shelters are hard work, and they would like to, have a roof over their head while they're stuck on this shitty island.
Group project.
And then we really get into more seriously now the disagreements between Jack and Ralph, and that they're really starting to butt heads over whose job is more important. And Jack cannot help himself but kind of lean into the being a dirty little tribesman.
Something also I noticed at the beginning is Jack was a lot of say and no do. Like, next time I'll do this, next time I'll make sure that all that other, as opposed to like just fucking doing.
Well,
Yeah.
I can give him, I don't know if I actually want to give him a little bit of, like, I don't know, excuse or whatever, but it's like he is trying to learn how an entire new skill set, which is like hunting and shit. God damn it. I'm getting fucked. He's trying to learn a whole new skill set in a very dangerous environment. And
Hornet, apparently.
like me, apparently. Every time I
Weird.
get to that same exact point, I get to start talking again, and then I get fucked.
Maybe you should just talk, babe. God.
Jack's learning something that's completely new, and he's trying to focus in on it, and he's failing, and he doesn't know how to handle failure really well. That's kind of my takeaway from it.
Yeah, like I get that it's him acting his age, but it's one of those things where as stuff goes towards the end, like they sort of take apart from trying to do that.
Yeah.
So, but it's one of those things where it's like saying there's no harm in, there's like no shame in saying like I tried, but it got away or something like that, rather than just constantly saying like I'm so important because I will.
Yeah, but also remember.
Yeah,
Oh god. Fuck you.
I was gonna say, I suppose it's framed as, or part of the framing that Jack is very prideful, right? I mean, like we even take a fucking little aside when we meet him to make sure we all know that he can hit C sharp when he's singing.
Oh god, I just glazed over. That's good to know. But yeah,
because he was the best of the choir boys.
Well, of course. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's just, framed as an extension of his him being a prideful little bitch.
makes sense.
Yeah, that he doesn't want to admit that he is bad at, doing his job.
All right, remember to dodge the grenades.
Well, we'll see if they put one right at my feet again.
Well, I mean, if you just dodge them, it wouldn't be a problem.
Fuck you.
Then we get 2+ pages, so says Hornet, of Simon exploring the forest alone to zero effect or relevance. I will argue.
Go ahead. Go
I
ahead.
will argue that there is some level of relevance in that it's useful later on in the book to understand the layout of the island.
Is it? I mean, beyond what we've already figured out and already learned? And what we learn, through the rest of the other explorations of the island? It's like,
I
big island, mountain on one end,
yeah.
forest slope down to the beaches, and I got it. I don't think that anything of the rest of it's super relevant to what's happening.
I feel like it really establishes his character as like at least what I appreciate about Lord of the Flies is that choose your own level of allegory, right? Where it's like you can look at the book and see every single like thing that could be a symbol for something else, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you have to that as a symbol. So like for me, him like running into the forest and kind of like helping the little ones, but also kind of establishing this weird sort of like closed off area from the rest of the island, to me kind of feels more like a establishing him as a sort of, I know a lot of people argue that he's more of a religious figure, quote unquote, but like I ended up reading him more as a symbol for like hope in general. So the fact that he creates this like pseudo sanctuary that's like safe from the rest of this island in this hopeless situation kind of feels like, I don't know, like it feels like it's noting something and setting up pieces for stuff later in the book.
Look, I agree in that it feels like that, and that's why it pissed me off, because I didn't feel like anything ever came from it. Like, that's why I'm mad about like the extent in which it goes into it. It's like, it'd be fine, but that could be summed up with a very brief, maybe 2 paragraphs. So Simon went off, helped the kids for a while, the little ones, and then found himself a nice quiet space where he could feel safe. The end. Right?
Isn't that the same spot that Ralph hides in at the end?
It might be, yeah.
It could.
Yeah.
I actually didn't catch that. I'd have to go back and...
It could be, but I would still argue, what relevance does it have that Simon found it beforehand? Because he didn't tell Ralph about it. It's just coincidence. So he set up a coincidence. What does it matter?
Well, like it ends up kind of like saying a thing though, right? It's like the hope, like civility survives in hope, right? So like if Ralph ends up being the embodiment, like I'm being very pretentious here, but I'm just gonna lean into it.
Yeah, how dare you? Go ahead.
But like if Ralph ends up being the embodiment of civility and like the last bastion of like, I don't know, like normal society, right?
Proper
the fact
British.
that Simon's like little alcove, his little sanctuary, you know, you could say that the author is trying to say that civility only survives in hope when all else is lost to barbarism.
He might be trying to
Sorry,
say that. And that's a beautiful thought. I think he does it in a very ungainly manner.
No, I'm not saying that he's doing it well necessarily.
That's why it pisses me off.
Saying, like, trying to make the argument is like, well, it doesn't really serve any purpose, and it's like,
Okay.
yeah, but it does though. Here.
Well, okay. In that light, everything that the author puts down serves a purpose. So I guess everything does.
Flashback sequence.
But it's just like the purpose falls flat, or it's poorly articulated, or it's overly verbose, or it's like.
I'm just understanding that you're a gay bitch out of this.
Fuck you, Zom.
Also, Cyborg had some thoughts that I think we...
Well, Cyborg's not here, so fuck him.
I've been waiting just for a pause
Alright.
in the actual breaking up that. But yeah, the thing that I would say here is, granted, I have not read Tolkien recently. It's sort of Tolkien, the way Tolkien did it was to create an environment and really explain the feeling of the place that, like, Golding just kind of... It's like, he's wandered off, and it comes up later, as I was saying. Personally, the way I look at it is more just a case of civility requires preparation to survive. Also, you might want to pause. Never mind, you just got grenade. Oh, nice.
I'm good.
But yeah, that, like, yes, it can serve a purpose, but it doesn't end up serving a purpose in the scene. Which is, I think, the part where it falls flat. Like, essentially, if you could get the same purpose by, and honestly, same feeling just by saying, and then what's his name, because I suck at names, and then what's his name wandered off and found a secluded place to think, and it doesn't actually meaningfully lose anything, it kind of falls flat. Whereas for Lord of the Rings, if I remember correctly, it's like, no, if you take away the way that it's described, something ends up missing.
That's fair.
I mean, like, I feel like I keep falling back to, like, one of the quote-unquote rules of writing, which is, like, if it's unnecessary, cut it. Like, that's generally, like, what writers are told. Like, if it's unnecessary, cut it. And so if it's included in it, to me, like, seems like there's a reason why the author felt the need to include it, right? And so then digging into the symbolism of like, okay, so what is he trying to say by including this, right? Like, do I think that he probably should have added some more stuff so that it's not like scenes should be doing like 2 or 3 different things at any given point in time, sure. But also what the writing conventions were in the 1950s in terms of like action to symbolism to plot to
Well, whatever they were wrong. So
Well, there is something that I want to just throw up here. Let me just make sure that I have the exact wording. It's worth noting that, and this is where I'm going to bring in a sort of bit of meta context. The book was edited by other people that removed large portions of it.
that's
And the exact quote by Golding, who is the author, is, "I've lost any kind of objectivity I ever have of this novel and can hardly bear to look at it."
holy shit. Okay, interesting.
So, and like that is a quote from the author. So it could very well be that what's going on is the details in that scene were important for a part that got cut, and the editor fucked up essentially.
Dude, I was judging the author really horribly. I have to at least adjust that thought because it sucks.
It's noted if you go through Wikipedia, it's noted that Simon actually in the original edit of the story, original version as written, did a lot more stuff towards the end of the book, especially in regards to having visions and talking to things other than the boar's head.
That makes sense because the boar's head conversation, it speaks of like, oh, he's gonna have another episode or something. It's like, what do you mean another episode? He's never had one to begin with. Like, oh, gotcha. There was supposed to be more. Makes sense.
Yeah, there was supposed to be significantly more to Simon's character.
Yep.
As originally envisioned.
So why is it that other people get to edit the work? Did he sell the rights to it or something?
No, essentially he was talking to editors, and like working with other people, and he didn't stick to his guns.
And part of it is welcome to trying to get published, right?
Yeah.
Like
That too.
he decided he wanted to get the book published, and when you're getting the book published, part of the agreement is that your editor gets to make various levels of changes to the work, and there's not really much you can do about it. Like it's part of the contract.
well, and I think that it's also noteworthy to mention that this was his debut novel. Like when it's your debut novel, you're kind of treated a little bit more harshly because it's like, oh, but you don't know what the fuck you're doing.
Yeah, let me fix it. I've been doing this forever. Yeah.
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 So one thing I'm going to say, and I don't really think I should expound upon this more, just time purposes. This novel is, in a very ironic sense, a meta symbolism for basically the flawed nature of creation,
Oh yeah.
which is hilarious. But
Because it's a flawed creation.
like you've got the initial idea that the creator was going for, and then it was meddled with, and then it was meddled with some more until eventually he just threw up his hands and said, "I'm done."
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then this is the book that's just decided upon by society to be a classic. I fucking hate it.
So, moving us right along to the next chapter.
Thank you, Zal.
For time purposes, yes. Roger starts being a little bit of a little shit and throws some stones at some little ones, but make sure not to hit them. You know, he's specifically just thinking, well, I don't want to get too close because then I'll hit him.
He's literally testing his boundaries.
Well, yeah, but like, you know, he doesn't hit them, right? So it's okay.
That makes it better, you know.
Fine
Yeah,
with throwing sand in their eyes, though.
Oh yeah, well that's different.
Yeah.
That's not immediately lethal. Jack decides to. Is it that he makes a mask, or did he just put on like war paint?
I've read it as war paint, but I kind of interpret it as mask because it's the original, like, it's the start of that thought process.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
And it's the same thought process. He's just not quite as far yet, but it's covering up his face, to give him some sort of kind of psychological
He's putting
protection.
on like a persona.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And in doing so, he decides to go be he goes on a successful hunt, but in order to go on a successful hunt, he just lets the fucking fire die. Which,
More than
It's
that,
not
he
good.
literally takes the people assigned to controlling the fire and says, "No, you're coming with me on the hunt."
Yeah. And naturally, in this very moment, a ship ends up passing by while the fire is dead.
Yep.
Great job, guys. Frankly, from a realistic point of view, the fact that a ship passed by at all is a good sign for the sense of getting rescued. Because the ship
Just be patient,
passed
it'll be
by.
fine. But yeah.
Yeah. A ship passed by. It's likely then that another ship will also pass by because ships tend to travel on the same routes.
Yeah.
Of course, the flip side is this is during war, which means they might be doing the opposite of a convoy system, where it's just every man for themselves, don't travel the same route twice.
Possible. Yeah.
Of course, it doesn't specify which war because that'd make too much fucking sense.
Pretty sure it's
Well,
World
to
War
be
II,
fair-
but I could be wrong.
No,
Well, the problem
it's
is-
World War III. They mentioned the Reds.
Okay, that's actually good to know because the reason I initially thought it was World War II as well, and then they mentioned a jet.
Oh, I
Yeah, no,
didn't
it's-
catch the jet. Okay.
Yeah,
was
they
later
mentioned that, and they also mentioned a nuke.
Damn.
Yeah, they
okay.
mention atom bombs multiple times, and they, on at least one occasion, explicitly mention the Reds.
I
so
don't
it's
remember
very-
that. But...
It's like it's a throwaway line. I can't remember.
I
what
remember
chapter.
the red too. For whatever reason, I interpreted it as just the kids' assignment to Japan.
Mm-hmm.
But okay,
I guess
that
because
makes more
the
sense.
emblem of the rising sun.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
that makes more sense because nukes and all that shit going on. Okay.
Yeah, no. So it's if you really read it, it's a Cold War gone hot scenario.
Gotcha.
Head up to the roof level, Spartan.
Let's see, Cyborg, last chapter, so the slog.
Other side, other side.
I definitely felt like that. We'll get there, but the last chapter, to me, is what kind of started to drag a little bit.
Honestly, the entire fucking.
Yeah.
Not quite as bad as it was for Hornet, but
No. We also get the kill the pig, cut her throat, spill her blood chant, which is a great chant, best chant.
I think we're gonna get a good chance.
I love that chant.
End me. End my suffering.
Nope.
Great chant.
You agreed to be here. Fuck you.
I don't say the best chant. Other people say the best chant.
My
I'm very
God,
humble that my
I did it
chants, my
because
chants
I
are
don't
the
need
best
it
too.
all. God.
God.
My chants help us get the most pigs. We got so many pigs with this chant. We're drowning.
I
in
don't say
pigs.
we got the most
Somebody
pigs.
sit
Other people
down.
say we got the most pigs.
God.
What?
And then we get a nice argument at the end between Jack and Ralph, which is pretty understandable from Ralph's perspective. The fact that they let the goddamn fire die.
The primary objective. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm surprised that we didn't lean harder into the pig hunt thing when the stuff happens to Piggy later. And I wonder if that may have also been something in the original story, because I feel like it's poked at that something's going to happen to Piggy. Like, Piggy is framed as a pig here when Jack gets upset with him.
Remember the line towards the end too, not to jump too hard, but where Jack's like, we'll do to Piggy what we did to the pig, or something like
Yeah.
that. He says that very specifically, and they just, or the beast, or I think it was, which was Simon, but the beast, and which very explicitly was they killed Simon. So it's like he literally says we're gonna kill him, but then they don't in that moment, not yet. And I'm like, oh,
Wonder, and this is just wild speculation on my part. I wonder if one of the original drafts of it, they end up resorting to cannibalism. But because of the sensibilities of the time, they were like, no,
Too
you
much.
can't do that. You
Yeah.
can't do that. So they like cut it and changed it to something else.
could be, very much could be.
Here come the
Yeah, that would make sense. Let's see. Of course, at this point, Jack is not so far gone that he doesn't have a fucking brain in his head. So he does apologize, air quotes, for letting the fire die, because he does seem to recognize that he fucked up,
It's
even if he doesn't want to.
it's intriguing that Jack sometimes appears to have like a political mind. And that was one of those moments where I thought that's a very good political move. And he's manipulating and making sure that he appears good in front of the others and recognizes that a sincere apology will work, and it does. Everyone likes him for it. Not that it was sincere, but you know.
Yeah, but it sounded
the
sincere.
appearance of.
Yeah.
Yeah. let's see. Moving on to 5. Ralph calls a meeting and demands that the kids stop being little childs and start helping. But kids are little shits and they don't want to, help with anything like the shelters.
Hmm.
And I think at this point he pretty explicitly calls out like pretty much everyone helped on shelter number 1, and then shelter number 2, all the little ones ran off somewhere to go be little fuckers, in the woods or something. And then by shelter number 3, it was literally just like him, Piggy, and Simon building the last shelter. Honestly, pretty big little kid energy, not gonna lie.
Yeah.
We get some renewed concerns over the beast, but it's pretty clearly morphine. Like, it's not a snake anymore, for one. But it's also it's very clear that the older kids are starting to buy into it a little bit more.
Or at least they're afraid that it's true, at the very least.
Yeah. And I wonder if you could probably make the argument that Jack doesn't even necessarily think that it's true per se, but that he
knows
he's
it's going to
happy
be a
to
good
lean
tool
into
for
it.
what he wants to do.
Yeah. And then we start getting more uppity more uppityness between Jack and Ralph, where Jack is like, but I want to speak. I should be the leader. Blah 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 blah.
And he starts to do the whole thing of like, the rule doesn't matter, even though we agreed to it first.
Yeah. Because he is getting very jealous that he is not the leader at this point.
Oh, was this a chapter with the unsuccessful coup?
Don't recall.
I think it might be this one where he's like, well, but I should be leader, guys. And then everyone's like, yeah, no.
Let's vote, and then like everybody's
Nobody
like,
votes
"The
for him."
fuck?"
Nobody cares.
Yeah.
So Jack gets salty after that, and then he takes his hunters to go dick around and hunt in the woods and whatever. And one of the I think the most important little tidbit in this chapter is that the after a big fucking argument, whatever, the gathering kind of scatters, and Piggy tries to plead with Ralph, hey, blow the conch again, bring them all back, and like finish up what the plan was with this meeting. And Ralph is very explicit in saying, well, I could blow the conch, but if I blow the conch and they don't come back, we're fucked.
Yeah. Which he's not wrong.
Chapter was it where where you can tell the author has like, okay, Ralph has accepted the responsibilities of his station and is now thinking according. So it was somewhere around here. I think it was like when the fire went out.
Yeah.
Similarity to Jamestown.
You'll have to remind me what James. Do not my country. So I tried googling it and I just got like the place. So obviously I'm missing context.
Well, I don't know if when you refer to Jamestown, are you referring to like the historical Jamestown, or are you referring to like a book that I'm not familiar with?
Or play, or
We've all got orders to evacuate.
The settlement into okay, yeah, you're talking about self. I mean,
So
The job half finished.
isn't that just a place?
it is a place, but it was like the first, one of the first colonies, and there's a pretty historical story about how it almost died and survived, etc. I mean, I see some parallels, but not that many. And in Jamestown, they had some rough times with leadership, and then Jamestown is where John Smith rolled in, right?
I think so.
Yeah,
I believe so.
which is a very stark difference to this book, because John Smith was like, "Fuck you guys! If you don't work, you don't eat." So they had the
I mean,
strong
it's
leader
certainly, it's certainly, if Jack had been less of a little shit, they could have probably done something like that and been perfectly fucking fine.
there. Yeah.
Well, I mean, technically, they kind of do the same thing once, everybody leaves to join Jack's tribe. He's like, well, but if you don't join my tribe, you don't get to eat.
You don't get
And
meat.
if you join my tribe, you make me leader. So, I mean, but,
Essentially they do it too late. I agree with you, man.
yeah.
Well, there's that, and then I think there's a fundamental difference of like choice. Like, if we're talking about Jamestown compared to this, Jamestown, like John Smith was, everyone agreed to make him in charge, and then he put down some rules and laid down the laws, as I remember it. Jack, on the other hand, kind of made himself. and then he got the power. Then which was the food. He got access to the power, and then he made sure no one else had a legitimate choice if they wanted to eat. You join me or you get to die, essentially.
Yeah. But yeah, so it's very interesting watching Ralph be actually strategic in the same kind of way that Jack has been strategic up to this point, in saying that, well, I can't blow the conch because I risk just exploding everything if I do that, and everyone ignores it. So moving on to the next chapter here, which is 6. We get an air battle that all of the kids are sleeping through, which is rather surprising, frankly, that they all managed to sleep through that nonsense.
Because jets are not
right
quiet.
over the island.
Yep.
Not at all.
Jets are not quiet, especially not in this era. And I would guess it would air battles are kind of short and sharp, but it's not like the Missile Age where you don't see each other.
Yeah.
I think that it's a matter of that the children are starving to such an extent that they're just exhausted by the end of the day. Because, like, if you actually look at, like, a normal, like, one of the things that I've learned is that when you're marooned on an island, you can't live just off of, like, the pigs that are on the island. You will starve. You actually need to have, like, potatoes or some form of carbohydrates because you can't break down the protein. So even though eating everything, you're essentially starving to death by eating just.
So it gets kind of weird on that one because it depends on what you actually have access to. Because I believe you'll go through the keto flu, and I believe there's a second process which I don't remember the name of where you break down proteins into energy. It's not as efficient, so your body doesn't like doing it, but you can. But the other thing that's worth noting is they had access to fruit. Like that's one of the constants. They've always had access to fruit over the entire course of the novel.
Yeah, and they're pretty explicit about the fact that eating the fruit makes their stomachs upset. But they
You have diarrhea and all of that. So, like, you could, I don't know. It's just a wild speculation, but, like, if you're not eating a proper diet, you could be absolutely fucking exhausted because you're nutrient deficient. And then they're also on a hot island all goddamn day, just running around. It's just a thought. It's not really.
Yeah, the only reason I'm not more on that is just because they're not ridden like they're at that level of starving because they have the energy to have all this fuckery. Whereas, like, you're at that level of starving, you do not care. You don't have the for that shit.
Yeah, that's fair.
To my understanding.
Yeah. Anyway, the result of this wonderful, fun little battle is that we get a pilot who had part of his head blown off, floating down. And he gets stuck on some trees up on top of the mountain by the fire. And the way the chute happens to be sitting, whenever the wind blows, he gets like pulled upright, and when the wind stops blowing, he like slumps forward again.
All the coincidences, I love them.
Very convenient, isn't it? Sam and Eric, meanwhile, had been asleep, ignoring the fire, but they apparently can't get anything useful done unless they have fucking both of them for some godforsaken reason.
Yeah, young twins, I'm fine with that.
It's something I would allow and expect from my kid, even though it's hilarious and retarded.
They get up to go fuck with the fire and make sure that it hasn't burnt out completely, and then they run into said corpse that is, sitting out on the mountain by the fire. And they run and they scream and they're little shits about it, and then they cause a massive panic. Ralph, having to be the leader, has to begrudgingly accept responsibility for going to check this bullshit out and see what the hell's going on.
Which he does.
Yeah, he
Credit to
does.
him.
He does. And he goes with Jack, and does he go with someone else, or is it just Jack at this point?
Robert, I believe, shows up.
Robert
The
comes
psycho
along.
kid.
I think you have like a few kids along at that point, right? Because like towards the end, there's I think 4 of them when they're going up the mountain later. So there has to be more than just 3.
Well, there's a
Jack
number that go.
Went.
Isn't it everyone but Piggy?
There's a number that. Oh, hold on. No, I think you're getting confused with
I think it's a different instance where they go back up the mountain.
Well, no, they kind of like yeah. No, there is. You're getting you're getting a little ahead. Jack.
Well, no, but
Jack,
it's like because they go for. Sorry, go ahead.
Jack, Ralph, and what's his face go up the mountain to check, and they see it. Oh no, wait, no, hold on.
No, I think because like you've got them going up to check the fire. Then there's the giant panic
I
and they
remember
run
now.
down and
I remember
everyone
now.
loses their shit. And then like most of the group sets out on an expedition to go looking.
Yeah, I remember. The whole group, like with everyone but the little ones and Piggy, go on the expedition. The expedition keeps getting sidetracked and they conveniently waste the entire daylight.
Oh
Go-
yeah. They go find Castle Rock.
Yeah,
This
and
is
then
where
they
they
go
start.
and then they go do a failed hunt and they waste all that time. And then when it comes nighttime when they can't see shit, I'm pretty sure that's when
That's when they
it's
go up the mountain.
and then it's just Ralph.
Yeah, when
and
it's
Jack.
getting dark, then
and
it's
Robert.
just the three of them.
Yeah.
Because the rest of the group is tired and wants to go home.
Yeah, and
No,
the-
I'm
no
pretty
one
sure
wants
it's
to go.
4, isn't it? Because you've got Robert and what's his name, the leader. And they say this is stupid. Like going up there right now is a bad idea. And then you have Jack and someone else that go up, right?
Isn't it Simon? Or am I
Simon's
misremembering?
already left by that point.
Yeah,
Oh,
Simon-
yeah.
Simon's off in his own world at this point.
Yeah.
I thought it was
No,
just a
Simon left to go
breakthrough.
back to tell Piggy what was.
Yeah. That might be what
Yeah.
you're thinking of, though, that Simon was with them and then he went back to go.
Yeah, that might have been what it was.
Okay, I guess I could be getting confused.
Yeah, it's fine, whatever. You like gaslighting, don't worry about it. Let's see here. Did they find Castle Rock? Yeah, then Ralph drags a couple of them along because they really need that signal fire going still because Ralph still cares about getting rescued, unlike everyone else. I do find it kind of annoying, and I mean they do eventually do this, but I do find it kind of annoying that they aren't just like, let's just put a fucking fire on the goddamn beach where we can all be around it all the time so it never goes out.
It's a very obvious solution, but yeah, no.
I mean, they do explain part of why they don't do that, which is that the wood is a lot shittier down there, and there's less ability to see. I think, like it's farther down, so it won't carry as far. I think was the reason, like the twin reasons.
Yeah, but it's like at this point, it's like the fire keeps fucking going out. Clearly this is not working.
He didn't make it.
Just put the fucking fire on the beach where we all sit around all day.
Plus, that shittier wood's gonna make a lot more smoke, but I digress.
Yes.
Yeah.
A lot of logic there,
The
but
other
I
thing that-
suppose the kids don't know.
Yeah. Like that's a case of like limited knowledge versus what we actually know as like grown-ups and shit. The one other thing that I'll note here is like I think this is where Robert's the name of the leader. As I said, I suck balls. Anyways,
Ralph is the leader.
Ralph-
Jack is the lead hunter.
thanks. Ralph is the. I think he makes a mistake here where it's like I'm not going up there, saying I'm not going up there because if we actually encounter the beast, it's worthless to do it at night when we can't fight back, rather than just saying I'm not going up there and not explaining so everyone can think, oh, he's doing scare.
One of the big throughputs of this book is the kids' inability, especially Ralph, but all of them really, their inability to articulate thoughts,
They can't communicate for shit.
which partially is kids, but I feel like he overdoes that a bit too much too. Like kids will communicate, and they'll communicate very directly. They just won't communicate very sophisticatedly, right? That's not a word, but you get what I'm saying.
Yeah. So chapter 7 is just a continuation. We've already talked about it. It's where they head up to the mountain. Just what ends up being the three of them after Simon leaves. They waste a bunch of time in the dark. They bicker about who's going to go up the thing. And then Jack eventually goes up there alone and sees it and comes back and is all fucked up, fucking freaked out about it. And so Ralph then goes up with him. I can't remember if it's the three of them who go up or if Ralph just joins Jack back up there to go look for himself.
I thought the three of them went up there. I could be wrong though.
I think it's the three of them. They go up. They see this scary thing that keeps that gets up and looks at them, and then they all freak out and they run screaming all the way home.
Yeah, little piggies.
Yeah, little piggies. Get it? Get it?
Symbolism.
Yeah.
Sound
my
like something
homies
machine for
symbolism.
pigs.
Of course. Chapter 8. Ralph and Jack really start to lean into the monster bullshit with the other kids now that they're back, which is kind of a fucking problem. Of course, they've seen it, so they're too stupid to realize it's a body because they saw it in the dark. But they really freak the fuck out of the other kids, being like, "Yeah, I know there's actually a monster up there. Oh god, it's horrible.
And it
It's
has
gonna kill us
teeth and
all."
da da da. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. It not good. The Jack and Ralph split up, and the hunters go off to go be productive and figure out how to deal with the beast, supposedly, which works very well. Very, very well. Beast definitely gets dealt with. Definitely, it's definitely not Simon. Simon ends up being in his little fucking hidey hole in the woods, and ends up seeing the hunters getting up to, hunting the big mama pig.
Yep.
And they stick a spear up its butt.
Yep.
And it is not happy about that.
It got what it deserved. It was a pig.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. As a communist, that's,
Kinda like
that's
rats.
understandable. And then we get the fun little bit, which is where Simon has the weird mental break and talks with the Lord of the Flies.
Balls.
So
yeah,
it
he's-
makes more sense in the context now of that this book is horribly butchered and edited. By itself, it's retarded, and the editor should be shot. I'll leave it at that, because the large part of my complaint with this book was just that, and the absurdity of it.
Yeah, it's definitely Simon's definitely. I feel like it certainly originally seems like he was meant to be portrayed as almost like a Jesus figure of sorts, and that he was the he ended up being the guy who could see the truth, and he had all of the
He brought the
visions.
goodness, and then they murder him for it, etc., etc. Yeah.
Yeah. He's
Yeah.
kind of he's a bit of a Jesus figure. Also, the Lord of the Flies, as presented to us as from Simon's point of view, I believe is essentially just Beelzebub, or meant to be Beelzebub.
Which would have made more sense if there was more to him, but the fact that Lord of the Flies is mentioned once in the entire fucking book, and it's a hallucination of this kid who has very little to do in this version of the book, it's just like, why?
It comes out of
Yeah.
fucking nowhere too. Like literally, just the name shows up, no introduction. I had to read it like 3 times to figure out what the fuck was going on.
Yeah,
And
editor
also
fucked
really,
Yeah.
it's fucked up. And we also really fucking hammer home the allegory here for the beast is actually the children. Ooh, it's the savagery.
Yeah.
Like, we hammer the shit out of that, and it's kind of like, okay, well, I mean, I kind of gathered that by this point, but thank you.
Symbolism.
Oh god, the symbols. The symbols, Mason. What do they
What
mean?
do they mean? I was literally gonna do the Mason bit. Fuck.
Fuck you.
I hate you.
That's pretty much the important thing, is that they leave the fucking pig's head on a stake in the woods, and then Simon communes with it. This is pretty much how I imagine Cyborg goes to church, honestly.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah, like I don't think it's too much different from going to church and communing with God.
That and maybe a bit of the
Church maybe.
what's the meme, the head butting bop.
Oh, Shoot Buddy Bob.
Yeah,
They
Shoot
actually
Buddy Bob.
released a sequel to that like today.
Today? Okay. I gotta go look at
Yeah,
that.
one second. I need to go. It was in another Discord.
That's great.
Yeah, go link that in chat. We'll look at that later. But
Thanks for the assist, Spartan.
But yeah, I mean, it's very similar to Christianity, right? You have the guy, dead on the cross, right? Versus you have a head of a pig on a stick.
Very
Same.
completely similar. Thank you, Tom.
Yeah, it's no problem. Same fucking thing. Are you 1-to-1?
Fuck you.
Well, and then you have the whole argument of well, the Lord of the Flies is the devil tempting the kids to go into, barbarism, blah blah blah. Kind of overstays its welcome a little bit.
A little bit.
A little bit.
I think a
Um,
lot of what could actually be used symbolism was butchered. Like a pig.
Jeez.
But I think it was kind of butchered by the editor, who just had no idea what the fuck they were going for, and so didn't know what parts could be taken out and what parts.
Yeah.
It's weird how I have an unreasonable hatred of all editors now.
Weird.
I would say it's entirely reasonable.
And so we
And
get-
it could have been worse. Like, for all we know, we haven't seen the original draft. Maybe the draft is worse than this one.
Could be, I suppose.
Counterpoint, Lord of the Rings is considered a classic, and it goes into like 6 times the detail of this for a tree. So,
I will argue, unless the editors also went in and specifically changed his phrasing, I don't like the author's use of wordage.
absolutely.
In the end of this,
Sorry,
I can pull exact example and just fucking mauled on it for a while if you'd like.
I mean, that would be useful to do if we have time. But the thing that I'm going for more is I find I can overlook a lot of bad individual choices if the overall effect is worth it.
I mean, sure. Oh god.
And it's like this was like I was reading it and it was just this is whatever juice is left is not worth the squeeze of getting through this. Whereas if there was if the original thing actually had a lot to it, I'd be like, yeah, this is kind of ass, but what they're going for is really so I can stick with it without complaining.
Yeah, I think that it's ultimately like Lord of the Flies suffers from the stylistic the styles that were in vogue at the time, right? Where like I'm just thinking of like all of the black and white movies that I've seen and the rhythm of the dialogue and the structure of the scenes and like those sorts of things. And it feels like when I was reading this, I was like, wow, this feels like I'm watching a, black and white movie. Like, if you can feel it in the DNA that it's baked in. And so I can't help but wonder if maybe the author was like, I'm just going to write it like all of the movies that I've seen over the past 10 years, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. That it really, like, ages the novel beyond the, I guess, I wouldn't say relevance, but just definitely the sensibilities and tastes of our modern time, that it makes it really kind of tedious to read if you aren't used to that old black and white style.
I'm gonna just kill a mockingbird.
I'd need to watch more black and white movies.
I mean, the first thought I have there is just like I don't watch very much film. It's not interesting to me. So,
Yeah,
that just straight up myth.
Yeah, the only black and white movie I think Warren has ever seen is The Lighthouse. So
I also just want to point something out. To Kill a Mockingbird was 6 years later, and it does not have these issues, from what I remember.
Well, I mean, sure. Like I said, I wonder if he was thinking of it as a movie, and so wrote it like a movie. And so, like, I'm thinking of, like, Casablanca, It's a Wonderful Life,
Things like that work a little better when you're verbose, right? Because it's audible. It's not, you're not reading it on the paper.
Mhm.
You can put up with people.
Did they have sound at that point?
yeah,
Okay.
Damn you! Oh, go ahead.
I said I don't watch film. It's not something that's hugely interesting.
Talkies
Okay.
became a thing in like the late 1910s or 1920s.
Thank you.
Tom,
That is what they were called, yeah.
talking
Yeah,
became a
talking.
thing back in, like, Zero. Dawn of Humankind. God. Sorry, go ahead.
God, you're such a
I know. I'm sorry.
Anyway,
Kill yourself.
Would. Speaking of killing things, chapter 9 is where we well and truly are fucked. The boys are fucked. This is just bad. Simon heads up the mountain and he figures out what all of the other retards couldn't, which is that this is just a dead guy, random fucking dead guy. And he chooses to get rid of the problem by freeing it from the branches and whatnot, which on one hand is probably a good choice, get rid of it.
Yeah.
On the other hand, kind of a bad choice because now he has no proof with which to show the other kids when it inevitably gets dragged off the mountain by the wind. Oops. Not that it matters considering what's about to happen. But Simon does realize, oh shit, things are getting out of hand and they don't realize that they're all idiots. I gotta go tell them. Meanwhile, by this point, Jack and Ralph have blown up, and Jack was like, well, if you want meat, you can come talk to me and my clan. With like a K, my clan. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Subtle.
And so,
No, I was just gonna say subtle.
yes, very subtle. And so all the other boys get lured over to hanging out with Jack for the blackjack and hookers and the pig.
Long pork.
And that kind of happens throughout the course of the day until everyone, even Ralph and Piggy, start to crave meat real bad, and they're like, well, I want meat. Well, I guess we got to go get some meat. So they go and get Jack's meat.
Okay, stop making weird.
What? At this point, Ralph pretty feebly attempts to maintain his position as leader, but it's pretty well fucked at this point, and it's quite obvious. Like the only thing left really at this point is the conch. Like he still holds the conch, and that still holds some level of power, especially with the little ones. But it's pretty clear that power is fucking slipping here.
Yeah.
Yep, you can get fucked.
So between that argument and whatnot, they end up getting kind of, barbarian-y, and have a big chant about, having to deal with the beast and whatnot. Meanwhile, Simon conveniently comes out of the woods while they're chanting and, just kind of having a good time, and he starts trying to explain to them that it's a dead pilot and not, a monster. And they, because they're so wrapped up in the tribalism, stab the shit out of him, and then he dies.
They hated him for he spoke the truth.
Yeah, exactly. Shut up.
I don't think they even heard the truth. I don't think they heard shit. I think
Well,
it's a very involved thing that's happening there, because they're like afraid of the storm. They don't have shelter because the storm's rolling in, and they're all kind of working themselves into a frenzy, kind of in this. We're scared and we don't want to be scared, so we'll scream and dance in a circle about the beast or something.
Yeah.
It's very frenetic and very primal and very survival based. I get what the author's going for here, although I don't think he earned it.
Mhm.
But of course, now I recognize I'm speaking from the position of someone who hasn't actually read his work. I've just read the editor's version.
Yeah.
But in the editor's version, I don't think they've earned that point yet. But they're at that point, regardless of whether they earned it or not, of like, we're terrified and we're gonna be tribe together to survive, and it's kind of turned into almost a group psychosis. And then Simon
Yep.
stumbles in, he's bleeding from the nose, he's kind of banged up, and he's delirious. And screaming that the beast isn't real, and they all just fucking end him.
Yeah, they just stab him. They stick a stick up his butt, just like they did the pig or whatever.
Not quite, but okay, Tom.
Anyway, he dies, and he gets dragged off by the tide.
Yeah. And they spend like 3 fucking pages describing his body on the beach before the tide comes in, because reasons.
I just glazed over that. I started reading and I don't remember where I started. I don't remember where I stopped. I just remember I just went whoop.
Yeah, you did well, because it was a huge waste of time.
They gotta do it for the tension. You
You gotta let it sit, like how bad we've gotten, right?
Stop
we gotta
it.
like, oh my god, we just
Stop
outright
it,
killed
both
someone.
of you.
Got to do it for the page count.
Quit it.
We have the page count.
murdered him. It's so shocking.
Oh my god, I hate it.
So yeah,
I mean, I get it. It was a turning point. Oh, we've gone too far. Woe is all the bullshit. Society is dead. Blah 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 blah. But yeah,
God is dead, and we have killed him.
God remains dead. The murderers of our murderers.
I feel like part of it has to do with the fact that, and maybe this is just, jaded millennial / Gen Z sort of, we've been on the internet, we've seen a lot of fucked up shit. I wonder if part of it was really shocking because of the fact that these were kids that were doing it, right? And so it kind of seemed like so crazy and shocking, and like the author isn't really gonna like have a bunch of kids murder another kid, right?
Yeah.
That would be crazy. And then it's like dun dun dun, and it's just all on.
Could be. It
For the
could
time,
be.
but yeah, for the
I
time,
agree
it's
with you
probably
there.
pretty groundbreaking and terrifying.
Yeah. So at this point, we are well and truly fucked. The tribe has left Ralph because they like meat more than they like going home, or the idea of going home rather.
Yeah.
Coming along to chapter 10 here. Piggy and the twins are just talking, having a having a bad morning, horrible hangover here, saying, "Well, I mean, that was Simon. He was yelling about something. I don't know what he was yelling about, but like, Jesus Christ, we fucking murdered Simon." And they're like, "Well, no, we were on the outside of the circle. It wasn't us who murdered him.
We weren't
It was the
actually
other
there."
kids."
Yeah, rationalization.
Yeah.
Shit.
Which
is
actually is
essentially-
understandable, and I'm fine with it. It makes sense, that part.
Yeah, it's essentially more of what they what we saw already with the little one who got kind of eaten by the fire earlier in the story.
Yeah.
Because they just do not want to admit that they were involved in fucking murdering someone.
Literally biting, kicking, and stabbing a kid to death. It's pretty horrific when you like take apart what all was being done there.
Yeah. Let's see here. Jack starts being, a horrible person, but a very strong leader, and ends up tying up and eating Wilfred for something he did wrong. We never really learned what Wilfred did wrong.
Yeah, I was
deserve getting tied up and beaten.
I reread it several times trying to find that. I couldn't, so
Probably.
Yeah,
Honestly, probably doesn't.
probably
Okay.
doesn't. It's just there to show you that Jack is incorporating corporal punishment
Thanks a million,
Yeah.
Sierra.
He will maintain order.
in his new
He's a
empire.
crazy.
Something, etc. Something. Jack doubles down, saying that Simon was actually the beast,
7 Delta, 19.
but also that they didn't actually kill the beast. That the beast is still alive, even though they killed Simon.
Yeah, like he was the beast in different form or something. Yeah, like it was weird.
You still with me?
So
Yeah.
I think that's again running into the issue of cut content, where it's like it was meant to represent a combination of religious fanaticism and using fear to control, but because details were lost, it just sort
Falls
of
flat.
it falls flat, like sort of baby's first Orwell.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Everyone's kind of like, I don't know about that one, but he says it's right and it feels good, so we're gonna just go with it.
Approaching
Mhm.
objective. Watch for hostile fire.
We start to talk about the fact that we have a problem because without Piggy, we have no way of starting fires, which is a little bit inconvenient from the perspective of eating cooked meat. Of course, given where this tribe is going, I wouldn't be surprised at all if they end up just eating raw meat instead at some point. But that's neither here nor there.
Yeah, it'd be fine.
We do talk about the fact that we need to yoink those glasses from Piggy because Piggy's a little bitch, and he's not using those glasses for anything important.
Yeah.
Something interesting that I note here is the original goal was to steal the fire, as opposed to steal the object that starts fire.
Yeah, because they do steal
Well, the first time they
the
just
fire
steal
the
the fire.
first time around.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they steal the fire the first time, and then like the second time they're planning to do the same thing. And I think it's like when they see there's no fire to steal, they steal the glasses.
There's a specific moment that really stuck with me.
We may have to
Okay.
Where at least Jack and the three that he assigned to come with him on that hunt, if you will, they ask what they're gonna do. So we're gonna take the glasses from Piggy, and they ask like how, and he's like, we're gonna do it the same way we did with the beast. Jack says it specifically. We're gonna do the same thing to Piggy, what we did to the beast. Which to me, I was like, oh, this is where they go kill Piggy, right? That's what I was waiting for that to happen.
Okay, yeah.
Because Jack appeared to say it in the sense that he had that in his mind, and there was a weird disconnect here because they say we'll lay in wait for him, and we'll catch him out. That's what he says, right? That's what I remember him saying that, something like that. We'll catch him out, and then they don't. They just attack him in the shelter with
That
the
might
other
be
kids.
an editor edit.
I'm assuming
Where
that is an
originally
editor
they meant
funky.
to.
Yeah, because
Because like that would be like a difference between like, oh, they're killing in a frenzy versus, oh, they're doing premeditated
yeah,
people. So
the
that,
editor,
that
the
might be
editor,
an editor moment.
the editor
And that's
didn't
good
want the
point.
premeditated. Yeah, and you get fucked.
Yeah, and that's a good point. I completely
I
forgot.
feel like too, like especially with the way that Pig does end up dying by the end of the book, it definitely feels like the author just kind of throws up in his hands and says, "Fuck it, I don't fucking care anymore," and
Yeah.
just like go off the fucking cliff. I don't fucking care.
So somebody is very concerned that he's not premeditatedly killed. So it's like, well, if we have a couple of degrees of separation, somebody pushes a boulder, and the boulder bounces down and then eventually hits him, and then he dies from the fall, that's okay.
Yeah, I do think that it is a very interesting point. I can't remember who made the point, where it's like none of it is premeditated.
Hmm.
Like none of the murders that have occurred during the course of the book ever are quote unquote premeditated. Like they aren't planned out, right?
They just happen. They, like
Yeah.
it's always
Well-
like heat of the moment. Someone does something, so it's not really something that you can blame.
Yes. So
Boys will be
definitely
boys.
feels like something of the 50s where it's like, well, we can't have kids murder other kids. We can't
Yeah,
have it
except we, but we
premeditated.
almost do finally do some premeditated stuff right at the end, and then oh no, we're okay, we're safe. Let's see. Ralph, we really start to get hammer home here too that Ralph is kind of losing himself as well. Like he's losing himself when he's thinking about the idea of rescue or like what he has to do to get rescued.
Yeah, it's a hard time
which is-
focusing on it.
His sight, but
Oh god. Oh god.
Get it? Because Piggy is sad.
and I was like, that's so on the nose.
Yeah.
Get the hell out of there.
But yeah, so I find that kind of an interesting choice to use that as like Ralph is also losing himself here. He's just losing himself less than everyone else is.
Yeah.
I don't know if it really adds anything to the allegory of the book, though.
I guess you could make the argument. I don't know if this is a good argument. I'm just playing devil's advocate here. But, like, you can make the argument that, like, when the less that people buy into the civility of society, the less it works, right? The less that you can see past your own nose, right? So Ralph essentially degrades the more that people leave his quote-unquote tribe.
I could
Um,
see that. I think more is just a case of like what happens when you try and cling to civility while ignoring what allows it to work, was how I got that, where it's like he tried to like cling to the conch even though by that point the thing that had given it power, which is collective agreement that it had power and to abide by civility, had already broken, and he just didn't accept that. I think was more, and then I can't say you're wrong. It's just I feel like by that point, where part of what the author was going for had been lost, and he just stopped.
No, I don't disagree with you. Like I said, it's more of like it's a point, it's an idea. I don't know if I really put a whole lot of strength into it.
An idea.
Point.
Fair.
Sorry.
You go ahead. No,
No, just an.
He was
an
making a
idea.
pun on your
An.
name.
Anyway, this culminates all with Jack and his friends going down at night and yoinking Piggy's glasses. And Jack and Eric beat the shit out of one another because they can't see anything in the dark.
I thought that was hilarious.
It's pretty good.
I'm sure there's a statement to be made there about blindness and shit, but anyhow.
Yeah.
so he's gonna be feeling that tomorrow.
Yeah, I think you're right.
And I love the bit that nobody goes, "Hey, wait a minute."
I beat the shit out of someone's nads.
I kicked in the balls.
Fine.
Oh god. I feel like Jack recognized it, but he just didn't want to say anything.
Jack? You mean Ralph, I assume?
Or Ralph.
Yeah,
sorry.
yeah.
Ralph
Maybe.
was just like, ah, fuck. I'm
better not
just
say
not gonna
anything.
mention it. Better to let them think we won. Man, there's some very sparse notes here in the last two chapters.
Because the last two chapters are empty of narrative, like, movement. It's just
Not anymore.
drawn out hiding,
Hey, you made
and then
it.
drawn out running,
It's a regular family.
and then the Navy's here.
Keep
Well,
on.
that's a spoiler. God, we're not there yet.
Fuck you,
idiot.
Tom. That's the whole thing. Like, what are you going to talk about? How the details of how he ran for a while?
Well, I mean,
It does end up being a bit like Deus Ex Machina towards the end.
The big man was
Um,
sentimental.
He gave his
The,
life to just save the planet.
Well, let's see. In chapter 11, we have a big talk about the fact
Sir,
that they can't start a new
that
fire.
crew
They're
about
well and truly
contemplating
fucked. They got to go
equipping
up there and
the
talk to
civilian
fucking
evac ops?
Jack
Those are senior
and
level
like
communique.
beat him up or
I hear
something
what
to
Mhm.
get the glasses back.
Point is why put Spartans on
And they
defensive
they
deployment?
complain about how
That
uncivilized
Chasing
Jack has become
this
when he could have just
unsuspecting
asked for
shrapnel
fire
like
and they
a
would have given it to him.
You didn't answer my question.
So they head up there
I know we're
and Piggy's
losing.
like Piggy
Want
has
to know
finally
for the
grown a
rest.
spine, right? Piggy's like, I'm gonna talk. I'm gonna fucking finally like have a backbone here and discuss why what they're doing is wrong and all that
Yeah.
bullshit. And so in the ultimate twist of irony, he fucking eats shit and dies for it.
Yeah, of course.
They fucking boulder his ass, and then his head splits open on the rock, and then he gets carried away by the waves.
Yeah,
Poof, gone.
as he deserves.
Yeah. They also break the conch when they murder Piggy.
Yeah.
Which is obviously symbolism. Woo! That there's no going back at this point. Like they're completely gone. They're just savages. There's no semblance of order left. The intelligentsia has been slain.
As they deserve.
Yeah, of course. And then we get into the final chapter, which is Jack has decided to get rid of his competitor once and for all, so he doesn't have to worry about his power in the tribe. And so they do a big hunt to get Ralph. Ralph hides. They try to burn him out. He does a lot of running. He tries to hide again. They get him out because Lamau fire over. And then he makes it to the beach and he's about to die. And then all of a sudden, a cruiser shows up offshore, and the captain is like, "What the fuck is going on here?"
Put on a jolly good show, boys.
Yeah.
That wasn't very
God.
British of
That
you.
was so schizophrenic as well. Like he goes between like jolly good show and being disappointed in like the same breath.
I feel like he's like the stand-in for like the author to a certain extent. Like it. I don't know what it is about like British novels of this type, but there's always, especially when it's like a really dark allegory or a really dark satire, they can never just fucking commit. And so like they always do and that was a play. It's a show. And so he kind of does the worst of both worlds, in which he uses the Navy officer as a mouthpiece for the author, right? Instead of like having Ralph get fucking murdered. But like also he doesn't just say and then they pulled back the curtain and it was all just a play, guys. Like he does the worst of both.
Yeah, but it's
Essentially,
nice. It's all over.
Deus Ex Machina. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, it's nice. It's all over. Nice, cleanly wrapped in a bow.
Yeah. I mean, you could. I think you can at least read some level of irony in the fact that it ends with the naval officer being like, "Wow, you guys really fucked this up. I'm kind of disappointed in you. I mean, you guys are acting like complete savages." And then he turns and looks at a fucking cruiser sitting offshore
That is actually funny.
in the middle of World War III.
Savagery is the order of the day, buddy.
Yeah, exactly. So like, you can definitely read some irony into that. It's a fairly humorous scene of, man, you kids, I can't believe it. You guys are like killing yourselves over here, and then meanwhile, like, fucking, we actively talk. Yeah,
Having
we a little war, and then meanwhile we're actively talking about the idea that like the location that the kids originally came from has been potentially wiped off the face of the earth by atomic bombs.
Well, it's different when the adults do it, Tom.
Actually, fun fact about that. They got rid of all the scenes talking about nuclear warfare. It's just they had to be evacuated. That's the closest we've got to the story.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, death of the author by the editor at this point.
Yep.
The editor murdered the author.
That's the real story here.
Yeah.
Yep. So, yeah, that's Lord of the Flies. The ending, I think, is incredibly unsatisfying, though. I'm gonna definitely agree with that.
You wanted
It's
more
like,
kids to die.
Yeah, I was really hoping for putting Ralph's head on a stick, like it was implied we were about to do. I think that
It
would've
really
made for a much
does,
better ending.
like, like what Anne said, it's essentially, or at least what Anne started to say, is like, it was a Deus Ex Machina without committing to the Deus Ex Machina.
Well, like, I feel like, especially when we take now taking a step back and look at the whole book, because we've finished the book, I feel like the whole book is basically this whole commentary on, like, society and the different factions within society and how society sort of dissolves over time, and, like, that line between civility and barbarism and, like, you know, Cality versus, you know, the idea of like justice and fairness and etc etc etc. But like, it doesn't really, like, the thing that I wanted from the book was he spent this whole book going down and showing the degradation of society, essentially. And so, like, I was expecting some sort of, like, comment from, like, the author on how to at least reverse course
Well,
on
what's
it.
a better way? Something, yeah.
Yeah, or something to kind of, like, well, how do you patch this up? How do you get out of a situation like this? Because, like, I know that, like, when Zombly and I were reading it, I was like, dude, this feels like reading the news sometimes. Like, holy shit, like, ways that these people act and talk, like, this feels like I'm on TikTok or something. So, like, I was expecting, like, some sort of commentary of, like, how do we bring people back together to believe in the conch again? And he doesn't really say anything. And, like, I can understand if, like, the author wanted to be a little bit more, like, read it yourself, read your own sort of, like, interpretation of how to get out of this situation. But, like, at that point, I feel like the more satisfying ending would be jump to the naval officer finding the island, and they can't find anybody. There's nobody on the island. There's no kids around. They see, like, semblance of, like, huts and, like, spears and that sort of stuff. And then you cut to an old pig skull on a stake. And that's the end of it.
Yep.
Like, at least then you would be able to have, like, an ambiguous read it yourself sort of, like, let the reader think about how to get out of this sort of situation and just kind of let them do, instead of, like, making a commentary on, like, what you think the next best step is, because, like, you don't know. But, like, they don't do that. He's just like, yeah, like, it was a good old show. We had a big old romp, and then we're gonna have, like, an outside force save everybody and bring civility back to the island. It's like, that's just fucking bullshit.
Oh yes, Deus Ex Machina. I think the removal of Simon was what killed any.
Yeah, which I think that ultimately is why I think that Simon really embodies the idea of hope, right? Because it's like he's hopeful and he's trying to bring people back together, and he believes in something bigger or greater than themselves, which could be, you know, religion or something else. But the moment that he dies, it's like all hope for civility or being rescued or anything else, it just dies with him, which is, you know, kind of why I read it that way. But shrug.
For me, I'd say essentially everything went to shit. Like, the last chance for reversing course was somewhere in the middle of it, I think. I think it was, honestly, I think it was when they came back and the fire was out. That was essentially the last chance, because that was where he needed to assert authority and actually start delineating and recognize, like, yes, being a hunter is important, but if you're going to be a hunter, we need to set out who's going to be hunting at the beginning of the day.
Yeah, it definitely felt like, at least the implication, at least when I was reading it, made it seem like it was, like, because Ralph was older than most of the other kids. And so there's kind of, like, this implication that he's, like, bigger and he's stronger. Like, if they ever had to duke it out, Jack would overtake Ralph. Was always the implication that I got. So like I can kind of understand where it's like, well, but if Jack just says, "No, I'm going to be chief now. I'm going to take it from you," and like just decks him. I don't know if like Ralph would have the strength to be able to fight back on his own.
Yeah, but the difference is, do you want an immediate death or do you want a death by 1,000 cuts? Because either way, if Jack has that much power, when he says I'm not going to play anymore, the jig is up. So
No, I agree.
So essentially, it's like at that point, you've got to get that point out of the way immediately when you still have enough power that, okay, I can rally other people to help me on this. And
Yeah,
if
no.
I can't rally them, I'm fucked anyway.
Yeah, I don't necessarily disagree with you. It's more like I kind of understand why Ralph chooses the decision that he does. It's because it's like, well, if you're a 10-year-old and you got a 14-year-old, like 14-year-old's like, no, I'm gonna do what I want to do. Like they're significantly bigger than you and stronger.
Absolutely, but that's one of
like-
those things where it's like ignoring the truth of what society is based on is kind of going to bite you in the ass no matter what. So
No, I agree. But yeah, it was kind of a mess of a novel. At the end of the day.
I would say ultimately, this is a book that I am glad I have read once, and I do not feel the need to read it again.
I'm not even glad I
like
read
it
it
is-
once, huh?
You're not glad to have to be able to talk to someone and be like, yes, I have read this book. No, I don't think it's very good.
You know, to use the phrase Anne used earlier, or I think it was Anne, something about something not being worth the squeeze.
juice
Like,
not worth the squeeze.
Juice
That was
not,
me.
yeah, like,
That was Damien.
was that you, damn you? Okay, sorry.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's not worth the squeeze in that, like, the being able to say, well, at least I read the book, is not worth it considering how shit the book is.
I don't know.
I think. Sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say, I think that it's worth it, not because necessarily it's a bad book, but because it is often referenced.
I mean, I
Right,
suppose
so
there is that.
You can speak intelligently on the book because, well, you've read the damn thing, and you can, like, your opinion on it is formed by having actually read it, not just listening to other people's commentary upon it.
Mm-hmm.
And so
I think
hence
there's that for. Or sorry, I cut you off.
No, go.
Looks like they got
So
themselves
the thing
cornered,
that I'm going to say, which
or
is
were committed
going to
the
be
position.
interesting because it's not really agreeing in a lot of ways, it's worth reading the book,
going with corner.
not for anything in
There's
the book,
nothing
but
here.
because of the meta
No
contextual
loaded
allegory,
Sir,
where
we're supposed
there
to
was
blow the
something
screen.
in it,
This ain't
and it was
assaulted
butchered by
uniform.
the editor.
Dot, check your vector.
Vector confirmed, Commander. We
I
are
think that's the
discussing
only
matter
thing that's
as
worth
directed.
reading about the book.
Apologies. Coordinates
I think that's fair.
revised. Please confirm.
Revised.
By an AI
Good book to like.
unknown origin, whose clearance
I think
is
that-
above my own.
Well,
I know
it's
Zombly and I have
1
kind of had
east and
discussions on
2,000
this,
feet
but like I think it's a good
underground.
next step in how to read allegories,
Obviously, these
right?
coordinates are junk and
where it's like,
tangled.
okay, if you're gonna be teaching a kid how to read allegories, right?
What is this, Dot?
I think that you start them off with like Animal Farm, because it's like a 1-to-1.
Came this
It's like right there, right? Meanwhile, Lord of the Flies kind of like pushes you to think about it a little bit and like draw parallels. And I'm not necessarily saying that they're good parallels, but like it at least challenges you to think about it a little bit. And so I think that it's a good learning tool, and I think that it has some interesting things to say about society, at least presenting ideas, I guess. But I don't know. Honestly, I think that it's a really just good reading exercise than it is anything worth like merit, I guess.
Yeah, it's. I guess from like, well, even from the idea of like baby's well, not baby, but like baby's second allegory, I'd say Watchmen's better for that.
Let's find Halsey's lab. Move. Commander, I'm seeing turrets.
I'm gonna like kind of pulling up the book here real quick. I'm gonna talk about my biggest gripe. Like, there's all these gripes about like logic doesn't really make sense in the book. The guy, the author / the editor. I don't want to shit on the author too hard now that I know about the editor bullshit. But let's just address the work as it is, right? The work as it is, the there's clearly a whole bunch of problems and logical problems throughout the story. There's also a bunch of weird coincidences that have to be made in order to make the plot points happen, which I don't like. I think that's poor writing. But the biggest thing that really gets me is just his way of writing, and it's very much like you said. I didn't know this either, but when you guys said he was a what do you call it?
A philosophy teacher, yeah.
Yeah, philosophy teacher, right? So he clearly thinks in those ways, and it shows in his writing, and I hate it, which is weird because I do enjoy philosophy. But when you get people like philosophy teachers, not to paint everyone with a brush here, but very often you get the kind of people who like to talk big, and they talk in big words and flowery ways because it's like part of who they are, I guess. And the writing feels arrogant to me. And I'm going to read a little passage here that just, for no reason, pissed me off to no end. And mainly it was great because to me it exemplifies what he's doing throughout the entire story. This is how he writes, okay? He's describing Simon's body laying on the beach before the tide picks him up, right? And he says here, the edge of the lagoon became a streak of phosphorescence, which advanced minutely as the great wave of the tide flowed. The clear water mirrored the clear sky and the angular bright constellations. And then again, he says, the line of phosphorescence bulged around the sand grains. Like, all of this is bullshit.
You're uncomfortable with the bulging? Is that what it is?
No. I mean, first of all, you're going to use phosphorescence not only once, which is stupid, but twice back to back in like 2 sentences of each other. Pick up a thesaurus, you fuckhead. Anyhow, there's that. But then it's just like, it's all flowery speech with no substance. Like, you can paint a picture in a literary sense if you'd like, but you don't have to do it like that. I haven't read Tolkien directly, so I don't know if he spoke and wrote like this weirdly. But if he does, I'm going to hate it.
He goes into ridiculous descriptions of things, but he doesn't repeat himself, from what I remember.
Which is nice, and I hope he doesn't use a whole bunch of really flowery big words, right? Like, if he's sitting here saying, the towers were pristine white, and they rose 6 of them in this pattern, that's fine. Like, I might not enjoy it, but I recognize he's describing the pattern of the towers. But if he says, the towers were of a sparkling, clear white, such that you envisioned the beating of the dove's wings, or whatever. Like, if he starts doing that, I'm going to get pissed. Like, explain the concept and move along, please. And
That one I don't remember. I'll go away.
Hawthorne, then.
Oh, God. And to me, it's literary masturbation, is what it is. It's right. I'm going to talk in this flowery way to self-aggrandize myself and to feel good about it, and hopefully you do too, because I'm such a good author. It's like, move along. So
Can I
that's
do a hot take here.
Go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead. Sorry, I didn't.
That's just me wrapping up. That's kind of my personal preference on it. I recognize there are people who like that shit. That's fine. But that's why I was turned off from the get-go, and I think that put me in a negative light through the whole story.
The thing I'm going to say, though, is I don't think that's a philosophy thing per se. I know what you're talking about. Like, that is a specific style of person. But philosophy...
No. It's not all philosophy, guys, but there tend to be people like that in that major.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
And I'm biased here because the angle that I approach philosophy from was mathematical, which is a clusterfuck and a half, but it doesn't involve much superfluous language.
Which is a blessing.
I'm just like I'm both thinking of my philosophy classes I took in college, and then also thinking about like reading like Jane Eyre and The Count of Monte Cristo and like some of old style books, right? I don't really feel like the language is particularly flowery, right? Like, at least to me, like, I've read some really like archaic books. Like, God, I hate Nathaniel Hawthorne. He spends like 3 or 4 pages literally just describing a feeling.
Of course.
Like, literally just a feeling of like remote remorse, and it's so dry and so awful, and I hate it. But like, even thinking at least in with philosophy, right? The flowery language that I think that people tend to really criticize with like philosophy language and and writings and that sort of thing is that they have to use the same words as like books that they're criticizing. So like if you are criticizing something that Aristotle like wrote thousands of years ago, you have to use the specific word that he is using in order to clearly make that reference or clearly make that argument. So
because the level of detail philosophical arguments operate on is ridiculous.
it's so like minute that like you have to use the same words. And so you end up with this like very large smattering of like strange languages and words and things from other languages and cultures and etc. But you have to use those specific terms in order to like criticize specific logic in other pieces, which like I think that a lot of people tend to gripe about. Not that that really like applies to like Lord of the Flies specifically, because like I don't know, man, like you're writing a work of fiction, make it entertaining. But like that's at least where I think that a lot of that comes from, is that like, you know, they have to use specific words, so they end up having a large vocabulary, but then they have to use those specific words in their writing, and it just becomes like unapproachable to the layman because of the fact that you have to do all of this like intellectual homework in order to understand Kierkegaard.
Yeah.
I remember going through Kierkegaard actually. Can't remember what I thought of him though.
I read Kierkegaard in my intro to philosophy class.
Yeah, I only took one intro to philosophy course just because I didn't have time. Well, it was good. I just didn't have this course space for it.
I took 3 philosophy courses. I took intro to philosophy, I took ethics, and then I took logic. Which logic was more of a math course than it was a philosophy course, I'll be honest.
Yeah, as I said, I approached it from the other end. I did pure math, so I know the feeling. By the time you get to some of those arguments, it's like, Jesus Christ, it's philosophy with not words, letters.
Yeah, well, and it actually helped me, like, understand, like, math better. I was like, oh, I understand numbers now.
Oh yeah, proof by strong induction. Let's go. Wait, this isn't numbers. This isn't a degree, or this isn't an equation. Fuck.
Proofs in logic. It's in geometry.
God.
Well, sounds
So,
awful.
anyways, before we get completely lost in like complete tangent, because there's probably a few philosophy books I'm going to look at. I want to look at Nietzsche for some reason, knowing what he's going to be used. Feel.
Might need to do Descartes and Nietzsche though.
I mean, we can do it in order, but not right now.
Nietzsche's a hard one for me
Anyways,
to stay on.
Where were we?
I think
we were complaining about Lord of the Flies again.
Well, I think we
Yes.
hit the end of it. And I kind of gave my overall annoyance with it, and the rest of it's kind of just addendums to, or the rest of my problems with the book is just addendums to that original problem. So,
Yeah, that makes sense.
I mean, I think that's Lord of the Flies. That
Oh, the only thing worth noting is the fact that he wrote this book because apparently he read Coral Island, and he's like, that's not how kids would act, and then wrote Lord of the Flies.
well, I read his book and I go, that's not how kids would act either.
I mean, he got it right for the first bit at least, but like
Yeah.
it very quickly went off course.
Yeah, I guess apparently he turned to his wife, per Wikipedia, he turned to his wife and was like, read Coral Island, looked at her and was like, what if I wrote a book that actually like covered how children really would act? And she's like, okay. And so he wrote Lord of the Flies, and then it got butchered in editing, and then he's just like, I kind of disavow this whole thing.
Yep, I give up.
So,
Which is understandable. Understandable, really. I have a particular hatred for any person or entity that takes someone's artwork and then fucks with it to fit their own image. That's why, like, what they did to Halo was particularly heinous to me. Like,
Yeah, I can respect that.
'cause
Yeah.
yeah, like a whole bunch of people got together and made an excellent story, and then a bunch of other people bought the rights and then changed it to fit their bullshit. And it you know, by every metric did worse, but that's fine. It's our fault. You know?
I don't know. I feel like I have a really weird relationship with like art and writing and stuff like that. And maybe this is just my own personal process because I do a lot of like personal writing and like painting and stuff like that. Like sometimes I feel like having outside opinions and other people to say, hey, that's fucking dog shit, makes me go, let me think about that, and then look at it and go, yeah, no, you're right, that's total dog shit, let me try and rework that. Like, it can be kind of helpful to have like an outside person to be like, hey, I have this idea, I don't know how to put it into words, can you like, I'm gonna like yell at you for 15 minutes and then can you help me organize?
Yeah.
And be really helpful. But like sometimes I feel like if you're in the middle of the process and then people like, you know, be like, well, you should do this and you should do that, and you're just like, but done yet.
I haven't completed my thought. Please let me complete the thought before you tell me how wrong it is, you fuck.
Or like I'll specifically be like, hey, I want you to like tell me what you think about this very specific thing. And then they go and change the entire like voice of the entire like piece, and it's like, never mind, I'm never gonna like ask for your opinion ever again because you're gonna be like, well, the grammar isn't correct here, and it's like
There's, I'd say like the difference that's important to note. I think is it's important to note like when is it that, oh, okay, this is a part of my work that's actually good to change, it doesn't really matter, versus if this isn't for you, this work is not for you, and I don't care about that.
Yeah. Like, and it's always such a hard balance to walk. And so, like, I don't really blame the author for just kind of walking away on it, because it's like, at what point, like, on one hand, you want to work with your editor to make it the best version that it can be. And sometimes that means throwing out some of, like, your favorite parts, or parts that you think really highlight specific things, or whatever, because they just don't fit the overall cohesion of the novel. But like also at the same time, it's like, when do you know to tell your editor to fuck off? Like, I don't know that line.
I'm sure I'm gonna have to figure it out, but
I don't think it's
important.
I don't think it's helped.
Sorry, go ahead.
I don't think it's helped by the kind of editing relationship that occurs in modern times, where it's like, you know, again, we bought and paid for you, and so if you wanna get published and have your work ever seen, then we have this contract, you better fucking change it.
Well, and then depending on what type of, like, you have multiple rounds of editing, but then you have a different editor for a different aspect of the novel. So you have like a developmental editor, you have a line editor, you have oh fuck, there's another type of editor that's like the in-between of line edits and developmental, but I can't fucking think of the term of it right now. But like, you essentially have 3 different people having 3 different opinions based on 3 different aspects of the novel, which, like, especially if you do traditional publishing, it's like a fucking nightmare, because if one person says one thing and another person says another thing, who are you supposed to listen to? I mean, ideally both, but like,
You can get.
This is where I'm going to show my. Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. I just said it. I'm done.
Okay. This is where I'm going to show my bias. I feel like if you're going to be going into making a work like this, the first thing you should do is figure out, like, what am I trying to achieve with this?
No,
and
I agree.
everything is based on that.
Yeah.
And it's like, if what you're trying to achieve is just, I want to make something that looks pretty, that's one thing. But when you're like, when you're doing a work like this, where it's like, I'm trying to say this other thing is full of shit and make my own statement, you have to decide, like, no, this is important for the statement that's being made. It is lost without it. I don't care how bad it is. And then, if they say, well, I'm not going to publish it if you don't change it, that's where you have to decide, okay, do I actually want this published, despite the fact that it'll have lost the point. And
well, I think that, like, the author was definitely hamstrung by his times, where, like, self-publishing is, like, very accessible nowadays. And I think the majority of people would just be like, fuck it, I'll, like, self-publish myself. But, like, especially at that time, it was either you play along with the publishing company or it's just not getting written. And it's like, okay, well, and this is my debut novel. Maybe I actually don't know anything about like the publishing industry and how it like what's acceptable for the times. I don't know. Maybe they know what they're talking about.
Okay, well, I think we're gonna wrap though because we're kind of going off on
We're
tangents.
kind
here.
of yeah.
Yeah.
What is this?
Good talk, everyone.
Just before we
Next-
head off, though, the one thing I do want to say is, just to hammer the point home finally, the fact that we had our most fruitful part of the discussion, like actual arguments and discussion, all that stuff, not on the novel itself, but on the meta context of the novel and the purpose of art, is interesting. And I think that does speak to like the novel is useful, but not in the way that it's actually used in most
Yeah.
cases.
I understand.
So
I just wanted to put that idea out there.
It's a
Sorry, go
cautionary
on.
tale.
yeah, cautionary tale to not be gay like Hornet.
Wow.
Anyway, thanks for everyone for showing up again.
All the people.
Next book is The Art of War, which will be a nice change of pace. It's a very, very easy book. Very, very quick.
Fuck that
Perfect for dummies.
Fuck that preface. I hate that preface. I hate it.
Okay.
The preface is the best part.
Part. It's so terrible. I'm gonna rate about this next week.
Good. Good.
So I don't know. I don't think we have it said exactly if we're going to talk Wednesday or Saturday on the book, but we'll figure it out. Sunday, whatever, weekend.
Yeah. We'll figure it out.
But
I haven't
we-
decided yet either. I don't know if we want to keep up a 2 books per week schedule or not. That seems like it could.
No,
do
I
it.
think that's probably too fast. That was
Yeah.
that was more just a thought to catch us up on where everyone was, and now we're.
And also, these books were like really fast to just rip through.
Yeah, and The Art of War is pretty similar. We're reading mostly novellas right now, is what it seems like. So
Yeah, I'm kind of thinking we'll do our. I lean towards doing the discussion of The Art of War on Sunday, on next Sunday, and skipping the Wednesday talk.
Just a side note, I will not be here.
Damn you.
I'm going to judge you for that, but that's all right.
I'll do what's necessary, sir.
We might talk about rescheduling the weekly stream just to try and get Cyborg in more
Maximum
consistently.
participation.
Yeah. So. Because I mean, I hate that guy. He abandons us all the time, but also we like to have him around. So
So we could move it to a Saturday.
we'll see what happens. But anyhow, that's stream. That's book. Fuck you guys.
Fuck
No,
everyone.
fucking
We'll see you
you.
next week.
At 3
Yeah, we'll see you next week.
Turn right, heading 0.